I'll move that out the way. But yeah, right. Got something pretty cool earlier. I'm not talking about pharmacy bags. What I got earlier, I've got one sealed one and one that's unsealed. There we go. So I think I mentioned this to people a while ago, but the reason I've got two is due to like a kind of annoying site problem, but I'll get into that. It means I've got one I can basically sell to somebody if I want to. And it's, if you're saying you're late, MT, you're not, because I've only just started streaming. If you're saying I'm late, I'm not, because I said I was streaming at 9 p.m. tonight, not 8 p.m. It's a lot better today, Brighthole, yesterday and today, than it has been over the last week, which is good. So yeah, that's a good thing. So yeah, I ended up splurging out on the 4K collector's edition of Dune that they've re-released the other day. Wow, first release of a 4K version from the original film print, and it's got some cool shit in there. So let's have a look. So as I said, the reason I've got two, that's by accident. It's because when I first ordered this, I ordered it the day it was announced, or like the day after it was announced. I just did it on a guest account, and I didn't get any confirmation come through after I paid for it, and it didn't come out my bank. So I thought, oh, well, that's not gone through, and I need to get my pre-order done, before it gets sold, because there was a limited production run of these. So I then made an account and bought one, and then it turned out that it was just they weren't taking the money or confirming it until like the date of dispatch. So it means I've ended up buying two of these, but oh well, like I said, I can resell one. I have fun with that Brighthole. So it's a steel case of the film. Oh, you tried to say iLad, but it just didn't work. So it's an Arrow release. Arrow does pretty good ones with like lots of cool stuff included. So all the cards then are in the actual. Let me just hold them up the other way, be a bit easier. Right, Mike? So I guess this one is the one that's just more like an advertisement one in general. So let me get this. I don't want this to fall over and get damaged, because obviously it's a collector's edition type thing. All right, Joe Mama. So yeah, let's have a look what the cards are in here, like the original like advertisement cards. One with Sting on there. One of the battles, isn't it, during the film? It's quite hard to see on there, but I think that's the one where they're destroying the salt spice miners. That one before he rides the worm. Paul and Channy. What's that one? Like the robot train bit. One with Max von Sydow on it. So yeah, that's cool. So this one has 3 discs in it. It's got a full bonus one, and it's got the 4K and the regular Blu-ray of this re-release of it. No, I haven't, Joshua. Does it look good? I've not really heard about this at all. So anyway, that's that. I've not really looked at this properly yet, in all honesty. Just because I've sort of been busy today, so it's one of those things where it came in the post. I was like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, there's the steel book of the actual release. No, it wasn't. Like I said, that's why I'm not too annoyed that I bought 2 by accident, because I think they were like 39 quid for these special editions. So this one, let's see, is this book of some sort? So I guess this is just loads of info about the film in this one. So that's that one. But the coolest thing in this, there's a poster as well. I won't unfold all the poster, but that's a poster. The coolest thing in here, which I have had a look at, is the art book. Because obviously, for those of you who don't know, this is like what inspired Warhammer 40k, David Lynch's version of Dune. Like the art direction. So yeah, it's just cool to have a book with all of these sort of concept arts in them. But anyway, that's completely unrelated really to the stream. I just thought I'd show it because it was in the background, and like I said, I've not watched it yet, so I can't talk about how good I think the transfer is, but from what I've heard, it's very good. Oh, he's not started that again, has he, TXC? Fuck's sake. So, there we go. So that's that. Yeah, as for my back, it's definitely getting better. But like I said, it's weird because some days I have days where it's better than other days. No idea what that is, and no, I don't know. If it's illegal, don't ask. Well, what if it's not actually out yet, Joshua? We won't know if it's actually better or worse, will we? But hopefully it'll be good. Yeah, Fiesta Ware's cool. Again, I know he's got in trouble before, hasn't he, for like radioactive stuff. So I'd hope he's not collecting lots of stuff again if it's, you know, he can't legally do it. Anyway, we won't talk about that if it's a dodgy sort of subject. Anyway, for those of you interested, what's actually in here, because this is the bit on like the packaging. 4K dual format deluxe steelbook edition. Disc 1 and 2 feature an extras Blu-ray plus 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. Disc 3 bonus disc Blu-ray. But yeah, I'll definitely be, you know, I need to get a 4K Blu-ray player though, because I don't have one. I mean, obviously I can watch the 1080p version of it on here, but seeing as I've got a 4K TV now and I've got a 4K Blu-ray, I might have to upgrade my drive in there. What do you mean, Jacksonator? You have to expand a bit more on that. What you're saying at the moment doesn't mean anything. Because unless you mean, what do I think about the current laws? And in that sense, some of them don't make sense, but some of them are perfectly sensible. Which helmet offers better protection, MT? I don't actually know because I don't really own many modern Russian helmets at all. But, you know, the Soviets did a better job in Afghanistan than the West did, apparently, so there's that. All right, Smalls. Sorry, I missed your first comment. Oh, so you're recovering for your operation hospital. Well, that's good. Yeah, because like I said, at the moment I've had a bit of back issues, but it's the sort of thing where I had a back injury years ago, had physiotherapy, and you know, kind of recovered from it. As in, I felt a lot better after the physiotherapy and all the exercises I had to do, but it never was like 100% better. And then recently I was moving something heavy for my dad, and then my back just went again in like the exact same place, but this time it's obviously recovering faster because it was not as serious an injury, I guess. But like I said, it's not pleasant because there's been a couple of days recently where I've just felt sick from how much it hurt, which is really frustrating because it's not just like, oh, it hurts, so I can take some painkillers or whatever. It hurts and I actually want to vomit kind of thing. Yeah, Flazzy, and the Sea Knight has been left behind. There's a Sea Knight in there, as in the helicopter, and that Sea Knight looks very much like the one they were evacuating the embassy with, which was apparently the same Sea Knight as evacuating Saigon, which is really, really sad if they've let that be captured. I don't actually know, Mike. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. Can PS5 play 4K Blu-ray? Both versions of the PlayStation 5 standard and digital can play games and stream movies in 4K. The standard edition can also play 4K Blu-rays. Yeah, so apparently the PS5 standard edition can do. Yeah, you can always change the strap, can't you, Top Hat Man? Because the thing is, none of the Vostok straps are very good. The worst one's the metal bracelet. And then some of the rubber ones are like okay, but they're not particularly good, as in not high quality rubbers. I've played it before. I think I've played it before on stream. I sort of like Anomaly, but you know, I prefer the actual Stalker games rather than mods. Brightar, I saw the one that says, fun fact, titanium is lighter than steel, so in shit hit, well, I guess that shit hit the fan, like, or, so if stuff like WZ67 was made of titanium, it would be better and lighter. Yeah, there's some cool videos of titanium and stuff, but the problem is lots of militaries never made it en masse, did they? So. Yeah, cool. Just be careful with that TXC gaming for obvious reasons. Oh, Brightel says, well, it's a Claymore detonator. Yeah, I don't know how the laws work on detonators in the UK, and I don't really want to get into it, because the problem is, if there's stuff in the UK that I don't know the legality surrounding, I don't want to discuss it, because it's a bit of a honey trap. The link didn't come through. But, yeah, so today's just been a day when I've been at work, and then played some games, and I've installed a new PSU in my PC. So that's in there. So I've got a 1 kilowatt PSU in there now, which means I shouldn't get any crashes now due to like the voltage overloading. But again, we'll have to wait and see with that. But using my plug to see how much power it's pulling, I've not had it exceed 700 watts since that new one's been in there, and it's a quieter PSU anyway, which is nice. So it's all round a better PSU. It's just obviously the fact that I had to do that earlier, and that's a bit of a ball ache. I filmed tomorrow's video, but I couldn't be asked tonight to edit it together with everything going on. All right, Nick. The metal bracelet strap is the one it's famous for having that's awful. Basically, it looks like it's... do you know what a regular watch metal bracelet strap is, Top Hat Man? It's like one of those, just made to a very, very poor standard. It's very clanky. Right, let me have a quick look, Brighto. Well, we tested the armoured plates from it, Alexander, and the armoured plates are pretty good against things like crossbow bolts. Again, I don't know how they rate compared to ceramic plates with rifle rounds, but against crossbow bolts, they're pretty damn good. I'm tempted, if they fit, to put them in my Osprey Mark III armour, just because of the fact I think that armoured vest would be a bit more comfortable to wear. Yeah, that's pretty violent, isn't it, Brightel, that thing? That's why you wouldn't want to be... yeah, you wouldn't want one of those on, would you, when you had the rebreather on, exactly. It's no wonder those surplus units can kill people. Oh yeah, did you have a good evening, Mike, on Saturday? I might have already asked, but this sort of week, obviously, because I was working Saturday and Sunday, I didn't drink much at all, if I even had a drink Friday or Saturday. But Sunday I had a bit of a drink, but not a massive one. Well, which GSR do you mean? The modern GSR? If so, the Avon one is all right. The Scott one is not. All right, Pergio, by the way. What were you drinking then, Mike, on the one where you got really pissed? What was your drink lineup for it? But what I've been doing recently that's actually been quite good for me if I want to avoid drinking as many units is just buying lower alcohol percentage, like versions of stuff I'd normally buy. Because that way, if you're used to, measuring out a certain amount in a shot glass or whatever, it's just less alcohol in it. That's really annoying, Rich. So I've had issues before like that where my bank just randomly decides it's not me buying stuff when it's obviously me. Is it that sort of thing or what? I have no idea, MT. I don't know what you're asking me. I know the Taliban still have some of the old Soviet tanks they've captured recently from army depots that were still there. Right, how many units do you reckon that was then, Mike, with all those things combined? Because were they like half bottles? Were they full-size bottles? Because recently I've just been drinking wine and like amaretto type stuff, because that way you're like limiting it to like 10 to 15 units per bottle at the most if you even drank a full bottle in one go. Compared to spirits when they can sometimes be like 30 odd units a bottle, can't they? Well, my old PSU was 750 watts top hat, man. But yeah, I could tell from actually my plug, it was pulling at least, when it had overloaded at times, 850 watts. So again, there's enough hardware in my PC that's pulling that much power. I don't know, Alexander. That'd probably be difficult to send me stuff, especially if it's food items, because I know customs gets very funny with some food things. So you almost drank a full bottle's worth of spirits, or more than full bottles worth of spirit. Yeah, like a litre of spirit, I guess, in equivalence of unit percent. Yeah, it's a very strange litter picker, isn't it? But yeah, I've had weird issues before. Not when my card's been cancelled, but where I just keep getting like cancelled transactions that can be really embarrassing. And then the banks are sometimes really shitty to even contact to sort it out. And what really annoys me is the amount of times where there's been very low value transactions they've cancelled over literally nothing. Yet, you know, I've obviously bought stuff that's expensive that they've not even thought's weird. So, for example, when on my card I bought my current car, they didn't question that at all. You know, so spending like nearly 10 grand in a single day on a card, oh, that's nothing. You know, maybe going on Amazon or something and buying a download of a film, oh, that's suspicious, that is. Yeah, Nick, but like I said, I've already got a plug that tells me what I'm pulling, and it depends, again, what I'm doing with the PC. Because if I'm, for example, using both the CPU and GPU to mine and like not really doing much for the PC, then that's when it's getting close to 800 watts sort of being pulled. So again, an 850 watt PSU might have been all right, but I thought I'd just buy a kilowatt, then I don't need to worry. Yeah, that's the thing. For the 3090 pulls about 350 watts top hat, man. From when I've been running tests on it. Again, it doesn't get very hot, but it does seem to pull quite a lot of wattage. Like, you can restrict it to 300 watts, but then you're gimping it a bit. Because although they're stock meant to be about 300 watts, they're not really. All right, man. Yeah, my back's a bit better now, thanks. No, I don't really like London, I'm afraid. If you're in London, I can recommend you stuff like HMS Belfast, Tower of London, and stuff like that. Imperial War Museum, some of the science museums, they're really interesting. But I don't really know shops in terms of London. All right, cheers, Gandhi. I don't normally keep one plugged in, but obviously I'll plug one in if I'm doing tests on them. Because obviously the point is, you know, to see if I'm running it for a few hours, what's been pulled and what's not. Because obviously the problem is without one, you won't know. That's probably why dead stock in Armored 2 Operation Arrowhead, you in the fake Afghanistan country in the game, there are T-34s plus T-55s. You know, sort of funny, but probably why. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it, with cards being blocked for like stuff? Because again, there's no rhyme or reason when it's happened to me. It's been, yeah, like there's some stuff I can buy that's really expensive that goes through fine, and you can be buying something that's cheap from somewhere you've bought from loads of times before, and I think it's suspicious. No, litter picker, it's a laser burn. You're looking at that one, yeah? That's definitely a laser burn. I think there's a couple of other minor ones, but yes, that's a laser burn. Yeah, as Fuzzy says, get yourself a stab vest. That would be a good idea for London. Yeah, if you were drinking to 9:30 a.m., Mike, yes, you would have got very drunk, wouldn't you? That's cool, Brighto. Yeah, they're interesting, aren't they, rebreathers? It's just something that I find a bit worrying about them personally. All right, cool, Mike. Yeah, sometimes when there's too many comments coming through anyway, I can't reply all that fast. But you on Twitch tonight? Because if you're on Twitch, I'll definitely still be awake in an hour's time to watch you. What do you mean you don't understand the need for stab vests? If you live in a shit area, you want a stab vest on because you'll be stabbed and killed. That's as simple as it is. If you're in a high crime area where people pull knives on people non-stop, you want a stab vest. Right, I'll definitely catch you on Twitch then tonight, Mike, because like I said, tonight is quite good because I don't feel all that tired. Like, I had a day yesterday where I felt a lot more tired. Might have been because I was busy at work all weekend, but, you know, now, today, even though I've been working for sort of a few hours this morning, I've had at least a day today, you know, where, you know, I don't feel that tired, which is good. Somebody else was saying in the chat that they've had issues with their cards on eBay, but not. I've not had any problems with like stuff not arriving or whatever. Oh, are they in Telebrite? That's very interesting. I've completely missed that, but I suppose it's because I've not been looking at the news for the last few hours. Oh, Biden Afghan exit best decision for US. So the GOP, is that the Republican ones? I don't actually know what the is. What's the Dems one called? But yeah, but okay, so they're actually moving to impeach him. That's interesting. I mean, I'm sure he'll forget in a day or two that it's happened. But yeah, I completely agree. What was really sad? Did you hear that thing about the woman phoning up some like news channel, the one whose son was killed, like one of the Marines or whatever he was that was killed in the like bomb blast in Kabul the other day? Like that was horrible. It's like your son died completely for nothing. Obviously, he died rescuing people, but again, this wouldn't have happened if Biden hadn't have fucked the whole thing up. Yeah, that's the thing, Top Hat Man. Because the good thing, at least, with a PC power supply is it's not going to constantly pull a kilowatt from the wall, is it? So again, it's not going to use more power than it needs to. It's just obviously so it was Corsair's Gold, whatever the name of their 1 kilowatt one is, and it's the modular one because obviously that meant I could just unplug my old cables and plug them straight into this one, rather than have to re-thread everything. Let me try and fix the link right, because again, it's doing that thing for me where I can't actually see it. All right, cool. I've got that in a tab, but I won't watch it right now. Cool. That's cool, Joshua. Yeah, I'll keep checking the news on that in Telebrite Films. I've not seen much on the news over here about it yet, but as I said, I've not really been looking at the news for the last couple of hours. If you want to donate, Vivaldi Man, thank you very much. The easiest way of doing it is if you look below, and this works through PayPal, there's a thing down there called Ko-fi, and that just uses PayPal, but it means I don't have to directly give my PayPal details to people. So basically, it has like a creator's donation page, and you just donate through there, and they don't take a percentage of it. So I'd get the exact same amount as if you sent through PayPal. It's just, it makes it easier to do. So if you look, there should be a Ko-fi link in the description. I think it should be on every video that's been uploaded in the last year or so. Horror games. The last horror game, in a sense of it being advertised as a horror game, I bought would have been Resident Evil Village. I haven't played anything that was actually genuinely creepy recently. All right, Nick, I'll look into that then. So why is that, though? Because both of them are Corsair ones, but why would that be? Cornelio says, I found out there's a J-arm system that allows you to clip on a film and not put on a helmet like the Flare TK Scout. Use an alternative offer expensive again instead of a flare breach. That sounds interesting. Yeah, the flare scout would be too low res for me to want to use on a helmet. But yeah, that's interesting though. I mean, if you had one of like the higher res scouts, then yeah, maybe. Have you requested a refund for it, Litter Picker? All right, cool. Right, what I'll do, Nick, is after this stream ends, I'll swap them over. So if I'm a bit late, Mike, when your Twitch thing starts, it's because I'm swapping the cables over. But obviously, I'll sort that out when the stream ends. Thanks for warning me about that. So I got a big bag full of cables with this one, but like I said, I obviously didn't even know about that. What do you mean by that, memes and strategy? As in the plug that goes in the back of a PSU to a wall socket? That should just be a standard 3-pin one if you're in the UK. I've never really liked the Dead Space games. Like, I don't dislike them. I just never got into them very much. Yeah, because the thing is as well, Nick, quite often I've had stuff where you actually buy a PC accessory and it includes the PSU cable with it anyway. So on one of my old PCs, it was a real like Frankenstein hodgepodge of various, cables. Because obviously, like I was saying, where I bought this new PSU and it's come with all the modular cables included, I can obviously, put it in and put all those cables on it. But on some of the older PCs I've had, obviously, all the cables have been, if I bought a new GPU and then it included the leads of it, then I'd put those leads on it. Because that used to be a more common thing, didn't it, when they used to include like the power adapters for various GPUs in the boxes of the GPUs, and that's not really a thing anymore. That might be why, actually, you saying that. For maneuverability, Cornholio, a pistol crossbow is definitely better in terms of how compact it is, but obviously they're a lot less powerful than the full-size crossbow. Although I think there's quite a small full-power crossbow now, isn't there, that Weapon Collector has? I can't remember what the name of it is, but I think he has one that's actually quite compact. Is it marked as dispatched and everything, Litter Picker? Because I know sometimes there's a weird thing where like eBay sellers go on holiday and then don't tell people, and that causes a fuck up. Because then they obviously aren't posting people's parcels until a certain date, but often it's not actually said that they're doing it. Let me see if they're the ones I'm thinking of. Molex 2 SATA. Yep, I've definitely used those in the past. Yeah, I think I used to power my what was it with that one? What was the name of it? Was it GTX 760? I think that used to be powered on those. So yeah, that was lucky it didn't start a house fire though. Yeah, so Mike was just saying the R9, the Cobra Adder, and the Cold Steel Cheap Shot are only a little bit bigger than pistol crossbows, obviously a fair bit smaller than full-size crossbows. My favourite Chinese gas mask, other than the drinking tube bit on it, is probably that TF12D or whatever it was called. This one. Just because of the conformist filter. But like I said, the problem is I need to swap this drinking tube out because the drinking tube makes it unusable. But all of the modern Chinese masks, like the military style ones, are really good. Obviously, a lot of their industrial, well, not industrial, you know, their export ones are awful. But so this one, other than the drinking tube, and if I had to pick one that's not the one with the drinking tube, then this one. Although I did have to make my own GOST blanking plug for this one. Well, I wonder if this one would probably fit on it fine, wouldn't it, if I wanted to do it that way? Right, well, thanks for letting me know, Nick, because as I said, what I'm going to have to do in a bit when I finish this stream is obviously swap out a bloody load of cables, but at least that's not going to be difficult to do because it's modular. It's just a case of, you know, unplugging one, then getting the next one and plugging that one in. Yeah, is this the right connection to fit on that? I suppose that bit's going to get in the way, isn't it? Although it does look quite compact like that, but yeah, it's making an airtight seal as far as I can tell, so that's pretty cool that these more compact filters fit on this one out. Well, it depends on the quality of them, Brighthole, because all of those can really vary in quality. The best thing, I think, is a really good panoramic lens. But the problem is so many panoramic masks, especially like Cold War ones, had awful panoramic lenses to the point where, you know, good round lenses were better. Yeah, it could be something like lip. It's really hard to tell, isn't it? But you can always just do the thing of requesting that, you know, they sort it out, and then, you know, because I've had that before. Sometimes you just had to sort of, well, I've had to do that, you know, where something's not turned up for ages, and then sometimes, like in the process of doing the dispute with the seller, it turns up, and then I just say to them, look, it's turned up now, you know, I'll close the case. It also depends how much something costs. If it's a really cheap thing, it's not as serious, is it, as if you bought something expensive and it's not turned up. Scandis flip-flops, as far as I'm aware, not really. Unless you very carefully unglued it and then re-put a new lens on using some sort of silicone adhesive, but that's probably a lot of work. But in terms of rejuvenating it, as far as I'm aware, no, because obviously they're made from that kind of poly urethyrite or whatever it's called. You know, I'm sure you know what I mean. It's the one that's like used in sink mastic type stuff, and I think once that starts yellowing, it's yellowing. Because I think stuff's seeping into the plastic as well. It's not just the top layer. The thing I like about round lenses, Brighto, is if you have round lenses like on the old British masks, you can at least put a scope directly onto them. That was like the thing of a round flat lens, is at least scopes and binoculars go onto them quite easily. Anyway, I'll be on for another 5 minutes or so. I've not been on a full hour tonight. This room's getting bloody hot and annoying, just because of the fact that, you know, I've got the door closed, and although it was cooler out today, I think somebody was saying earlier it was 16 Celsius where they were. It was about 22 where I was, which is cooler than it has been recently, but obviously the house traps heat very well. Yeah, thinking of stuff like the Anderson shelter. Oh, no, because that Cornelius way, that's completely defeating the point of what I want to do. But yes, you're thinking of an Anderson shelter, but the whole point is due to the price of property in the UK. So basically, it's like saying to somebody, oh, I know you want to move out, but did you ever think about just living in your parents' basement? It's a bit like saying that. So the whole point about buying something like an ROC post is you're actually buying some land and something cool that's on it, rather than, you know, because I know you could, in theory, buy land and then build your own bunker, but the problem is as well with that in a lot of places, land on its own is actually very expensive. So there's the weird thing in a lot of places that an ROC post actually devalues land in some areas because you can't really build on top of them. Yeah, I've not seen any new ROC posts coming up, but in the next few days, it'll be the start of next month. So there might be some listings on other sites that, update monthly with sort of old weird properties on them. Yeah, cool. Let me have a look, Brighton. MG6P. Oh, that looks pretty interesting. So, yeah, you can't really tell, can you, until you look closer at the bottom of it, that it's not... Yeah, that's interesting. Because I suppose it only needs the same valve for in and out, doesn't it? As opposed to a separate pressurized in-out valve. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, another thing you'd have to bear in mind is you'd have to check all the water table details in certain areas before digging your own bunker, because I bet there'd be some places you just can't build one, either with like what the soil's made out of, or if the water table isn't very far below the ground. Oh, that's not interesting, Brighto. I mean, it is interesting. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just sort of strange, isn't it, when you get a few alternative stuff like that, but some of them didn't catch on. I'm afraid PDRM82D, I'm just about to go off in a minute or two, but if you want to ask one or two questions, I might be able to stay on long enough. Yeah, well, the thing is as well, Cornelio, is it's more the idea of buying one for the sake of actually owning one and then being able to restore it and do cool stuff like that with it. And again, the thing with Albania is a lot of the bunkers there are like little pillboxes, aren't they? Like they really vary in quality because a lot of them are just like little pillbox things. Where obviously in the UK we have a few different sort of style design of bunkers depending on who they were built for. Yeah, Rich, that's my point. It's like the thing is, if you're buying something like an ROC post, is it's been built properly. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Because the only way I could think you could do it that easily is burying cargo containers, and I imagine even then that's not straightforward. Gen 1 is pretty outdated. Gen 1 is cool if you've never used a Gen 1 before, but if you're going to go for a Gen 1, something like the Cyclops. Yeah, that's annoying, PDRM82, isn't it? Because there's a few people that have said stuff like that where they've got ones near them, but, they can't find any info on who owns it, and they're basically abandoned, even though they're like, I'd happily pay money for this, but nobody cares. It's just gone to waste. But yeah, so just to explain to you how it worked, Cornholio, so like in the UK, as well as all like the keeping people alive type bunkers, we had things called ROC posts, Royal Observer Corps posts, and what they were was essentially where the government at the time did about 1,500 odd little 2 to 4 man bunkers, and again, I think you could fit 4 people in not very comfortably, 2 people semi-comfortably, 1 person would be very comfortable. And the idea was you basically had like your ladder entrance room, you had a toilet, and then you had like the living and the communications room. And the whole point of them was to measure nuclear fallout and report in which direction the fallout was traveling. I think they provided about 1,000 to 1 radiation protection level, which is surprisingly good for what they are. The point is that there was just at one point in the 50s and 60s, over 1,000 of them built. Yeah, old filters are a bit like that, and I wouldn't recommend you breathe through an old filter from a World War II mask. But yeah, so the reason is we have a lot of them is just because at one point the government decided to build them all in like a big civil defense sort of planning program. Apparently there's a similar thing with the US with the CDV thing. Apparently there was CDV monitoring posts as well that were meant to be like ROC posts. I've never found much info on them online. I'd love to, but yeah, exactly, litter picker. Well, here's the thing. The bunker would provide adequate protection. Again, it's sort of like how long would their supplies last in there? But again, I think if you had 2 people in it at the time and it was fully stocked up, you'd actually probably be all right. Well, in a limited exchange scenario, because in a Fred scenario, you wouldn't be, because you're still going to die even if you had enough food to last you months, because when that runs out, there's no new food coming. Yeah, the actual ROC posts, as far as I'm aware, are actually pretty damn good in terms of survivability from fallout coming in. Yeah, Adam, like what you mean, like the old Minuteman silos and the Titan silos you get in the US. We don't have anything like that in the UK because all of our nuclear deterrent was bomb or, like plane based essentially or submarine based. None of the British nuclear deterrent was actually silos. So therefore we don't actually have like Minutemen silos in the UK or anything like that, or our equivalent of it. Which is a bit of a shame because if so, there'd be more stuff like that you could buy, but you can discuss the Schmidt-Rubin, but I'm afraid I can't show you because of YouTube's policies now. So, have you tried messing about with the screw where the magazine is? That's all I can really suggest. The magazine will simply re-go on if you play about with the screw. Basically, to detach it, you have to undo the screw enough to detach it, and then to reattach it, obviously you need to keep the screw out, get the magazine lined up, and then put the screw back in, because it's not designed as a fast swap magazine. Yeah, because they actually at least planned ahead, didn't they, Oliver, in that regard? And they're a neutral country, which means they shouldn't get bombs directly dropped on them. I think, righto, if you've got the cargo container like houses that are properly like fitted out, they're actually all right. But yeah, the problem is, like as you're saying, if you're burying them, then you're going to run into more issues. I know people that actually have like cargo containers set up like houses that sometimes live in them. Or have them as like workshop sort of things, and they say they're fine for that. But again, I guess they've probably got stuff to stop the water getting in and that. I think they've actually treated the outside of them. Because I know some people like that put stuff on the outside to then, stop the water even getting to the metal of the cargo container. Because you can actually just like put almost like furnishings around them, can't you? Oh, exactly, Justin. That's the point. That I think that's what a lot of people forget about is there's only so long you're going to last in the bunker. Even the UK like top brass bunkers had 3 months worth of food and water essentially. After that, you had to go to the surface. Like I suppose if you were really lucky, maybe not a lot of people would turn up to the bunker that were meant to turn up. So there'd be a lot more food rations to go around. But the point still was that they hadn't really, they knew you couldn't indefinitely live in a bunker. It's not like a vault from Fallout, is it? The problem is with a nuclear bunker is if you've got lots of people in like an underground place, it's going to get hot. Your food's going to run out, your water's going to run out. So it's basically to keep you from the worst of the fallout. Then you have to go to the surface. But yeah. So, David, the only thing I can suggest is maybe watch some of my Schmidt-Rubin videos, if that's not answered your question, and see on there, because I can keep those videos up at least of actual things that aren't on streams. But the problem is on a stream, I can't get my Rubin to show you. But it should just simply be a case of messing about with the screw. Yeah, so I think it's going to be a case of take the screw completely out, David, where the mag is. Put the mag in till it feels about right. Slowly tighten the screw while sort of wiggling the mag in till it's in the right position. But yeah, because the lever on it's meant to move the mag from feeding and not feeding, so you can have the mag essentially almost like detached but still on the rifle. So the bolt won't, like the receiver and the bolt won't pick up a cartridge from the magazine. But yeah, if you've completely removed the mag, then you're going to have to play about with the screw, I think, and all that to reline it up. Because I think the Rubin, although it has like a mag that technically can be removed, it was always one that was designed to be loaded via clip rather than, swapping the mags out. Again, Rolandus, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? That, again, I suppose unless you're really lucky in the sense that not many people turn up to the bunker and then you've got more rations for everybody. You're not going to survive long in a bunker in the sense that, they're not self-sufficient. That's the problem. Right, Flazzy, as I was saying, the Rubin, basically, it has a mag that can be detached, but it's not... All right, it's just not a fast mag to detach. It's designed to be loaded via clips, but if you had spare mags and you knew what you were doing, you could probably swap them out without much effort. But it's much faster to obviously load via clips than mess about with a screw. I think some of the later Rubins, like the K31, might have actually had proper replaceable mags like the Lee Enfield does. Because like the Lee Enfield, although they didn't issue spare mags, does have literally a mag release catch where you can just do it and pull the mag out. But that doesn't obviously work with the Rubin because of the fact that, a screw holds it in place so it can't fall out. If I had a Section 1 and I was shooting it somewhere where you could legally shoot a rifle, then yes, it would be legal, right on. But the problem is, your garden is not like an illegal place to shoot it unless you live on the estate. Well, when I say an estate, I don't mean like a council estate for obvious reasons. They get enough shootings anyway. I mean, as a estate as in like a stately home. Yeah, no, I'm sure that'll be it, David. Have a play about with that, and then if not, ask me on the comments if I hopefully see it on one of the Rubin videos, and I might be able to explain further. But yeah, the point is that the mag lever, all it does is raise and lowers the mag to the point it will feed or not feed. And then, the actual screw is there to secure the mag in place. Oh, that's cool, PDRM. Right, anyway. I'll be off now. Thanks for coming on. I've been on 45 odd minutes, so that was all right. I should be streaming most of this week, I imagine, because I don't think I've got much coming up most of the evenings, assuming I'm not tired or my back isn't hurting. What type of Holocaust are you on about, Oliver? Because if it's the type done by people in Hugo Boss uniforms, I don't know how you could really prepare for that, other than shooting them all. But if you meant like a nuclear Holocaust, I don't think you really can survive, other than if like I've done videos before. I've said like if in a best case scenario this might work for you, otherwise no, it won't. But anyway. See everybody next time on a video. Oh, I've got a video going on tomorrow, by the way, so that'll be on about 5 p.m. I haven't edited it yet, but I've filmed it, so I just need to put it on the PC, edit it, render it. That's the easy bit. So, there should be no issues with that going on tomorrow at 5. Right, see ya.